All right, what is up, everybody? We are live. The Bristol Fallout. What can we take away from it? Obviously, Christopher Bell wins. NASCAR had some interesting edits of his post-race victory lane. A lot of people fired up about that. Not necessarily wanting to touch on that, but did think I would mention it. But the bigger story out of the deal was the tire. It looked like Goodyear brought the softest tire they could possibly bring, and in practice, that tire wasn't falling off because the temperature was warm. But then, as the temperature cooled down, it seemed to chew through those tires, and a lot of teams weren't expecting it. And we've seen races like this before in Bristol where it's just so temperature sensitive. But once the temperature dipped below what they had practiced that tire on, it didn't seem to react the same way, and a lot of teams were caught off guard. Some teams were able to adapt to it. Some teams were not able to adapt to it. There were a bunch of cautions. It led to a lot of chaos. A lot of people really enjoyed the Bristol race, and some people did not enjoy the Bristol race, but I think overall a lot of people enjoyed it. However, was it a crutch, or did Goodyear save this car, save this race? Has Goodyear figured out how to make this car race in a more entertaining way because they had to slow down the car? That is the poll question. And here are the options. Did Goodyear save Bristol? Saved a race, but it's just a crutch. Still didn't like the Bristol race. The car is the issue. There is no saving it. Those are the options there. Only had 4. Wish I had more for this one. But that, to me, is the question from this race. The biggest overall takeaway from this race is, did Goodyear save this? Is there any saving this car? Because to me, with everything that was going on, I just wasn't in the best mindset to watch this race. I didn't enjoy the race, but then when I saw the polls come out that like 80 to 90% of people liked this race and thought it was a good race, I was like, maybe everything in the background just sort of had me in a bummed out mood. I didn't personally enjoy the race because I was just looking at it as, yes, there was chaos. Yes, there was an exciting finish. Yes, there was an unexpected winner. That last caution really set it up to be a good finish. But overall, I just didn't think it was a great race. And I'm in the minority on that, obviously. But there could be several other factors to that. But I just didn't like it. And I felt like this was a crutch. I think that they'll get by for this race. I think 2 things, in my opinion, could have happened. The temperature could have been warmer, and this race wouldn't have been any better, because I think with a warmer temperature, you would have seen these tires go way longer than what they went here. And the other thing is they just found another way to slow this car down even more, a car that is already slower than the Xfinity Series and the ARCA cars. They found a way to slow it down even more so that it could race better. Like the car, to me, is the overall problem. And I hate to say it, and I'm not going to stop watching NASCAR. I'm not going, oh, NASCAR sucks now, I'm going to stop watching NASCAR. I'm not going to do that. But the more I watch this car, the more I deal with this point system as it currently stands. And obviously there's rumors out there that this point system will change for next season. But the more that I deal with this car and this point system, the less and less I really get excited about the racing. It's just in that aspect of it, it's become sort of like F1, where you pull for teams, but you don't ever expect the racing products to be particularly great. And unfortunately, that's where NASCAR, if in my opinion, like the way I'm looking at it when I watch it, that's where I'm kind of at with NASCAR. I never anymore expect the racing to be great. I never really get excited for races anymore because I'm like, most likely they're not going to be able to pass. It's going to be a track position race. Every once in a while, you'll get lucky. Like Bristol, this race, Goodyear sort of bailed them out a little bit. They had the softest tire that Goodyear can possibly make, and it still barely worked. And it only barely worked because the temperature dipped. But we almost had another Bristol disaster. But luckily, we didn't. You know, I'm gonna focus on the bright side. A lot of people like this race. The vast majority of people like this race, and it was an exciting race. So they got bailed out by Goodyear, but still, the underlying issue. They've treated the symptoms, right? They've treated the symptoms for a long period of time, but still the underlying issue is the car. when is NASCAR going to take a big swing at this car and try to do something to this car to make it better? And to me, that is the question out there that needs to be answered. Now, all that aside, when the race was over with, a lot of people had good runs. A lot of people had bad runs. There's a lot of good stories. But to me, the car still being bad is sort of just the overall underlying thing that it sort of saps all the energy out of the sport for me. They really just need to fix the car. And I think if they could do something, or at least attempt to fix the car, I would be happy with that. Just as long as I know they're taking a swing at it, I think that would help quite a bit. But, shout out to Christopher Bell. Brad Keselowski with the second place finish, a little bit of a controversial move at the end of that race. He drilled Christopher Bell. Like, it wasn't a bump and run. It wasn't anything like that. He drilled Christopher Bell. He was trying to get that win for Brad Keselowski and RFK. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people said they lost respect for him. I saw it just as a sign of a frustrated driver at the end of a long race, a long frustrating race where he was saving tires and he wanted to win. He doesn't have a win this season. He wanted to get that win. I just saw it as a frustrated driver. I think it was kind of, in my opinion, out of character for Brad. I'm not going and running crazy with it. But a lot of people didn't like the move. They thought it was too aggressive of a move. And even when he drilled Christopher Bell was still able to just drive through it because, let's be honest, the cars were going so slow that he really just he bumped him up to go even faster. And typically these cars are set up to be tight. So I don't know how much people have studied racing, but typically if you hit a tight car in the rear end, it just makes it go, it loosens it up. It actually helps it, at least on the cars I work on. This car, a lot different than the cars that I help out on in late models and stuff. But typically a tight car, if you hit it in the back end, it loosens it up. It actually helps it out 9 times out of 10. So that move didn't necessarily hurt. Then you got Zane Smith here. That finished in third, which was interesting because he seemed like Carson Hocevar was on the outside of him. Obviously, Zane Smith was a driver for Spire, last year. This year, he's driving for Front Row Motorsports. It seemed like Zane Smith was going to do everything in his power to make sure a Spire car didn't finish in front of him. And fair play to him, because you got to understand it. I love the competitiveness. I loved the rivalry there between Zane Smith and Spire here at this moment. So he was as a front row driver and a former Spire driver. That was in sort of a Zane Smith rivalry move right there. So I thought he drove it as hard as possible because he wanted to get that win before Spire did. Sort of wanted to prove his worth and that they shouldn't have let him go. I think was kind of, in my opinion, probably at least one of the thoughts going through his mind. Ryan Blaney finishing in fourth. What more can you say about Ryan Blaney? He's really good at short tracks. He's really good everywhere when he finishes races. But yeah, no surprise there. Joey Logano in fifth place. Now, this was a little bit of a surprise. Joey Logano with the older tires on that last pit stop. I thought that was it just shows how good of a driver he is because he had nothing but scuffs left and he still made it work and was able to hold on to that fifth place at a race where basically tires were everything. Joey Logano holding on to that fifth place there with the older tires, the scuffs there on that last pit stop. Very impressive work. And another very impressive effort there, Corey Heim. No clue how Corey Heim got where he got, but Corey Heim is a talent. And when you give him a race car, especially at a short track where he is an ace, 100% great driver there and good drive for him. Carson Hocevar in seventh, Alex Bowman in eighth. Too little too late for Alex Bowman. Had a bad start to the playoffs and just couldn't recover, much like Josh Berry did. Both of those guys out of the playoffs, of course, along with Austin Dillon and SVG. They didn't make the cut. And then Chase Briscoe, who's had a great playoff so far, and then Ty Gibbs with his best race so far of this season, in my opinion. So that was the top 10. And then the bad race, of course, was everybody who, got cut there. And then Kyle Larson, he never really was in this thing. So a good track for him, but he just never, after qualifying, just never seemed to be in this race. Chase Elliott had the wreck and almost was on the cut line there. There was moments where he was dangling by a thread, and his teammate would have bumped him out. Kind of a worst case scenario for Hendrick. If it wasn't for William Byron finishing in the top 15, Hendrick just had a bad I'm sorry, if it wasn't for Alex Bowman finishing in the top 8 and William Byron there, Hendrick would have had a bad race all the way around. But three out of the 4 Hendrick cars, a disappointing night. Bowman with the best finish, but the disappointing night because he's knocked out of the playoffs. And then Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, just not the nights they wanted to have. One wrecked and one just was never sort of in the deal. Dennis Allen Hamlin probably was in the best position tire-wise at the end of the race. And then the wheel fell off. He's going to be, lose two crew members going forward, and then lost 2 laps in the race and just was never. But he was in the best position. If they just could have got that lug nut on there secured, I think Denny Hamlin would have had something to say at the end of this race because he had the best tire situation to go to the ends. But they didn't, and it ended up being a disastrous race for him. But that being said, after that, the playoffs as they stand now, who is on the cut line? Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric are the drivers on the cut line. Bubba Wallace, who has had his best season by far, is +1 point right now in 8th place, +5 points for Chase Elliott, +10 points for Chase Briscoe, +19 for Ryan Blaney, +20 for Christopher Bell, +24 for both William Byron and Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin is at +26. So you're getting to the point now where you can't have a bad race. 26 points is a nice cushion for Denny Hamlin, but one bad race, and it could be a bad day for anybody. So once again, you survive Bristol, but now right back to worrying about being cut off in the October 5th Charlotte race. So yeah, that's sort of the rundown of everything today. So let's jump into the chat and see what you want to talk about. Once again, get your votes in on the poll question if you would like to. Story of Bristol, Wednesday, tires a big deal. Friday, tires no big deal. Saturday, tires a big deal. Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those tracks that it's temperature-wise so fickle, like if it a few degrees one way or the other, and we might have had another boring Bristol race, but luckily Goodyear was able to save this car. Once again, early prediction for New Hampshire, Josh Berry puts wins on Earth 2. LOL, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, Josh Berry, great story for him to even get into the playoffs, gets that win number 101, and that's back-to-back years where the Wood brothers have a win because Harrison Burton got the win the year before with the Wood brothers. So the resurgence of the Wood brothers, a great story altogether overall. Unfortunately, just a dud of a playoffs, and not necessarily his fault. I mean, the freaking car. I mean, back to the car. The car caught on fire, and we saw 2 or 3 cars in this race catch on fire. I think the 66 at one point caught on fire, and another, who was the other car that caught on fire? We did see one other car catch on fire. I know there was at least 3 of them. But yeah, there was fires all night. Austin Cindric, the number 2 car, was the other car that caught on fire. So once again, the car, I would just like to see NASCAR take a bigger swing at the car, but yeah, Goodyear sort of bailed him out on that one. But yeah, Josh Berry, very unfortunate playoff, but he did make his first playoff, so there's a positive there. The Wood brothers have some momentum, 2 seasons with a win now for the Wood brothers, and hopefully they can keep building on that, and hopefully Josh Berry stays with them for a long period of time. Seems to be a good fit, a good combo over there, although their playoffs didn't go the way they wanted it to. Still an overall, I think, positive season for them. Goodyear, great job on having tire wear, but not for the blowouts, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, so the other thing to factor in is these teams are undefeated on adjusting after they get enough data. So even with this tire, as soft as it is now that the teams have had a look at it, if they come back with this tire, the teams will be well adjusted for this tire. They'll just adjust to it with the setup. So I don't even think that necessarily we'll have another race like this. This is why I'm saying it could possibly just be a crutch for this race, because I think once all of the teams adjust to it, you'll see what happened with the other time that the tire was too soft. The teams will just adjust their setup to it, and they'll be able to catch up to it that way. So it is what it is. Let's see. I agree, BB. The tire was a crutch. Yeah, I think it was just a crutch for one race. Tim Bray say him preach. NASCAR to Goodyear. Can you fix our mess? Yeah, like it's an unfortunate situation because Goodyear is in a sort of a lose-lose situation. if the tires blow out, everybody's like, Goodyear brought this tire that's too soft. Well, that's because NASCAR and the drivers asked for a tire that is this soft. So if the tire doesn't work, if the tire's too hard, everybody's like, the tire's too hard. There's not enough tire fall off. Goodyear's at a lose-lose situation because, in all honesty, the biggest issue here is the car itself, and that's not what's getting addressed. NASCAR keeps putting all this pressure on Goodyear to bail out a car that just needs some. I'm not going to say it's necessarily a bad design or a horrible design, but obviously it needs some tweaks, especially on short tracks. The mile and a halves, there's a lot of mile and a halves that it runs well on. But everywhere else, it needs some work. So, and with this modular design that they have, I don't understand why they can't, they'll talk about cost and all that, but like, I don't understand why you couldn't have a front and rear clip for certain tracks, front and rear clip for other tracks, and then a different underbody package for the short tracks. There's all kinds of things with this modular car that they could do, and it would still be cost effective in racing. It's not even, it's just an oxymoron, but it is what it is. Tires too wide, says Tim Brace. Yeah, certainly the tire's too wide. There's not enough sidewall. There's a lot of stuff with the tire that's wrong, but once again, that is something that the OEMs wanted. The OEMs, according to NASCAR, the OEMs wanted the bigger rim, even though single lugs aren't on OEM cars. The OEMs wanted the bigger rim with the lower profile tire because that's more of what you see on the street. So I don't know. Chevrolet's not even running a car that you can buy. So, like, at what point do we stop listening to the OEMs about stuff like that? So there's all kinds of stuff that you can talk about as far as that goes. I'm not going to blame Goodyear this weekend. It's NASCAR. Besides the car, PJ1 was too heavy. Left sides had too much grip where the right sides couldn't keep up and wore out. Prevented the top line from working in, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, that's another good point. Maybe there was too much PJ1 down on the bottom groove for sure. Prediction for this week, Bell gets 2 in a row, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, I'm with you. At some point, Christopher Bell, he's had a really good season. He's just a guy that nobody ever talks about. And it just, he keeps pushing and doing his deal and getting it handled. But for some reason, people don't talk about him, but he's had a heck of a season too. And you can say that about him just about every year. So, yeah, I like Christopher Bell going 2 in a row. That's not a bad pick at all. And Toyota in general has been really good as far as these playoffs go for sure. Love you, BB. Keep up the fight. Been with you for a couple years. Too bad more peeps haven't found you yet, says Dale. That's all good. I just do. As long as you guys are in here in the chat, that's all that matters. Having a good time. So it's just a fun gig for sure. And I appreciate all the support, no matter, how big or small. So it's just a good hangout. I appreciate you guys for sure. Toyota looks strong. Penske looks a step behind, says Tim Brace. Yeah, Toyota definitely has come out of the gates. I would say as of right now, those Toyotas have to be the favorites for the championship. I think Penske is right there. Penske's got that ace in the hole. As if they can get to that Final Four, they've got the ace in the hole that they've got that set up for Phoenix. That's just really, really seems like it's unbeatable relative to other cars. Although Ross Chastain got the win one year, even though he wasn't in the Final Four. But right now, yeah, it looks like Toyota is going to be hard to beat. I'll tell you who really just look. If you want to talk about the big team that looks lost, I think HMS is the big team that looks lost right now. Crazy as it is to say, is the Chevrolet body finally showing its age, or is HMS just as an organization a little bit off? Either one, both could be true, So, but I would say of the big teams, it looks like Hendrick, I would say, is a little bit more off than Penske is right now, at least as far as finishes and overall speed. Because if you're Penske, you've at least look at the finishes. Cindric, he didn't get the finish because of the fire underneath the car, but Cindric had a good car, was having a good run, and Ryan Blaney also, and Joe Logano getting his run out of nowhere. I would be more concerned as a Hendrick fan than I would be if I was a Penske fan. But definitely, if you're a Toyota fan, you're feeling pretty good no matter what. If it's 2311 or if it's Joe Gibbs Racing, I think as a Toyota fan, you're feeling pretty strong with any of those guys for sure right now. Sir Wood Rooster, Breaking 2027 silly season schedule news. It has not been confirmed nor announced that the Fall Homestead Miami Championship will switch dates with the Bristol night race. Hey, there you go. There you go. Says Sir Wood Rooster wants Bristol night race as the finale. We'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. Would be unique for sure. Of the 12 drivers left, 4 are former champions, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yep. As these things tip down, the cutoffs and click down and stuff like that, it is definitely the cream. The cream always rises to the top, and eventually you're going to see the same familiar faces. Are you nuts? The further it goes, the same guys seem to rise to the top, just like when this car was brand new, right? We talked about the car a little bit today. When this car was brand new, we saw all these new winners, all these guys, all these multiple different winners. As the teams have gotten used to this car, we're seeing the same familiar faces, right? Hendrick Motorsports, Penske, Joe Gibbs Racing, they're winning the vast majority of the races. And that's what I said. It doesn't matter how much you change the car. It doesn't matter what formula or format. The really good teams, the really good drivers are always going to figure out ways to get wins and be at the top. And it's always going to be the same familiar faces. That's sports in general. That's sports overall. It's not just racing. You can change the rules in baseball, basketball, whatever. The same players that are really good are still going to be really good. Now, do those rules and changes sometimes benefit and suit a certain person a certain way? Yes, but that's always going to be like that. But people that are really good, period, are always going to be really good, period, regardless. Look at Denny Hamlin. We'll just use Denny Hamlin because he's had a really long career. Denny Hamlin's been good with the old car. Denny Hamlin's been good with the next gen car. Denny Hamlin's been good with the car tomorrow. Denny Hamlin is a good race car driver, and throughout his career, he's been good with all of these cars. And you can say the same thing about Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has several wins in this next-gen car. He's in a bit of a slump now, but Kyle Busch, he was good with the old car. He was good with the car of tomorrow. He's good with the next-gen car. A little bit of a slump now, but good drivers continue to be good no matter what changes and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's that. It's always going to rise to the top. MGM Cindric really took lots of smoke in that car, says MGM. Yeah, you saw Josh Berry when he got out of the car. Like he sort of laid down on the ground. He didn't know where he was at. Cindric had to continue to sit in that race car and continue to race with those fumes and stuff like that inside the car. Crazy situation. Glad he's okay. Glad Josh Berry's okay, because that's a bad deal. That's a bad deal for sure. Not sure why it took so long for them to put the fire out on Josh Berry's car either. That should be looked at, and hopefully they can get that figured out going forward. So if Toyota is not going to move Heim up, should Jeff Gordon poach him like he was poached by Rick Hendrick, says Bruce Carvey. Look, Corey Heim, somebody needs to poach him. If they're not going to move him up in the Toyota ranks, I feel like somebody in Toyota is trying to move him up. I feel like somebody's trying to make a move. He's the backup driver for 2311. We don't know who Legacy wants. Legacy is desperately trying to get another charter. We don't know who Legacy wants as their driver. It could be him. There's also rumors that it could be Jesse Love. I think both of those will be good moves for Legacy, no matter who you get. I'm a strong believer in the talent of Jesse Love, but I'm definitely a strong believer in the talent of Corey Heim. But yeah, if Toyota is not going to use him, somebody needs to put him in a cup car, because he is definitely as ready as anybody is going to be in the Cup Series. So time to get him out there. Now, I know he didn't qualify. He's not necessarily a road racing specialist. I know he didn't qualify for the Chicago Street Race, but he is going to be a good talent at the next level in NASCAR in the Cup Series. So hopefully, if like I said, if Toyota's not going to use him, buy out the contract and put him in a car. If you're a Cup owner and have a spot. Let's see. Hamlin should win New Hampshire, says John Ray. Yeah, Denny Hamlin, really good at New Hampshire. He's got several wins there. I don't know exactly how many off the top of my head, but yeah, he would be another good pick, especially given the Toyota factor. Anybody in a Toyota right now, you have to give a slight advantage to. It just looks like Toyota has got it figured out. They've hit, sort of that thing that Ford hit either in, was it 2023 or 2024 when just Ford figured out something the second half of the season. That's kind of what this reminds me of here with Toyota right now. They've just found something the second half of the season that the other teams have not found. T-Van, what's up, BB and everyone? What is up, T-Van? Good to see you, my friend, as always. Let's see. Take the Bristol time to New Hampshire and Dover and see what's take the Bristol tire to New Hampshire and Dover and see what happens, says T-Van. Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they do. Hopefully that tire fall off will be the same at those tracks. And you'll be able to see the same type of passing and comers and goers, tire management and stuff like that. Hopefully all of that is a factor and plays into it at those tracks as well. If NASCAR decides to take the tire there and experiment with it there as well. Bell has won 2 of the last 3 years in the Cup Series at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, swept Xfinity and Cup last year. I forgot about the sweep last year. Good call, Bruce Carver. Yeah. So, like I said, of the 2, I haven't looked at the stats, but I would say of the two, both are Toyota drivers. So flip a coin off the top of my head. Floating rumors at Supercars, Bend 500 last weekend. Fans around the bend that a possibility of Connor Zilich's wildcard entrance of the Adelaide Grand Finale later this year as a GM counter in Adelaide. That would be cool. That would be cool. Now, Connor Zilich is another one. I think I would really like to see him test his skills over there because he is certainly a really good road racer. Austin Cindric, definitely a really good road racer as well. But there just seems like there's this momentum right now with Connor Zilich. Like he's got his confidence at an all-time high. And to him, I would give I'm giving Austin Cindric all the credit in the world for going over there. I would do the exact same thing for Connor Zilich. If he can go over there and just even run solidly, like if you could get like a top 16, top 15, I think against the best of the best in those type of cars and that type of racing, I think that would be a great day for anybody. Anything better than that is an amazing day. And even if you don't have a day that good, you're still going to get all the respect in the world from me for going over there and jumping into a different pool and attempting to learn because these guys that are just giving road course and street course races away to SVG without even attempting to learn how to heel toe, because apparently that seems to be where he's got at least one of his advantages on road courses. I think it's more than that. I think it's more than just the heel toe. I think he's one of the best drivers you'll ever see. But if they want to just keep pointing at the heel toe, I like that these guys are going over there and getting as much experience as they can about how he learned how to race, so that they can at least give him a run for his money later on after they can buff up their skills racing against the best of the best over there. I'll tell you, so sort of flip this script. Something that I've always wanted to see would be Scott McLaughlin, because SVG and Scott McLaughlin had a great rivalry over there in supercars. I tell the story all the time, but it's still funny, so I'm going to tell it again. SVG blocked Scott McLaughlin in from getting out of his car because the door is actually open in supercars. He blocked him in on the podium one time, and I thought that was a great move. They had and it was a fun, friendly rivalry. So I thought that was always a great move. I would love to see Scott McLaughlin, because he's a Penske driver. I would love to see Scott McLaughlin come to the Cup Series at some point and race for Penske. If Penske could ever figure that situation out, race against SVG at a road course or a street course, I think that would be great. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. Heim should replace Herbst, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, and it could happen. Is Herbst money over there at 2311 necessary? Because he is basically essentially from what most people are saying, a pay driver. But yeah, I don't know. I think there are two culprits who are responsible for possibly SVG and Scott McLaughlin, given they are both from Penske and Trackhouse, which is bringing on. Okay, so you're right on top of it, Denver. You're thinking what I'm thinking. I would love to see Scott McLaughlin. Even that would be supercars though, but I would love to see him in the Cup Series at a street course as well, or even an oval. Like, it doesn't matter. I would love to see. I would love to see those two race against each other one more time. I think that would be super cool for sure. Let's see. Jeff Burton said on Door Bumper Clear, said he just doesn't care what car he was driving. He was just trying to win a championship, says T-Van. Yeah, that's a fair point. I just think that for the fans' sake, if NASCAR could just figure out how to make this car race a little better for the fans, that would be good. I think the drivers would certainly like it better if the car raced a little bit better, or was it just faster than the Xfinity Series car. That would be good too. Had more horsepower than a street car. That would be good too. But those are just small things to ask for. Heim to the 48, says Bruce Garvey. There you go. Alex Bowman always on the hot seat. I want Heim in Cup next year, says T-Van. I would love to see him in Cup. Hopefully it is next year. Hopefully somebody takes a chance on him. I wish the captain would replace Cindric with Love, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yes, there's been a lot of rumors about Jesse Love going different places. As far as the Penske pipeline, you see a lot of rumors about Carson Voppel in maybe a Penske Xfinity Series car next year, and maybe Josh Berry moves up to Penske, or Carson Voppel moves up to Penske after that year. So it seems like there's a lot of rumors swirling around Penske with another driver and who would get replaced and all these other things. But they are just that, rumors, as far as I know. I like the race Saturday night, says OJ Enthusiast. Yeah, I think a lot of people like the race Saturday night, for sure. But I don't know. I just, and it just could have been the overall mood of the weekend, but I didn't love it. And it's just because the more and more I see this car, the less and less I like this car. But the race, if I take that out of it, the race overall was good. It had everything you wanted because Goodyear saved it. The Goodyear tire fall off gave you what you wanted. You had to manage tires. You had comers. You had goers. You had guys that completely missed the setup. You had guys that completely nailed the setup. You had guys on strategies where they had 3 tires left. You had guys on strategies like Joey Logano where they had no tires left and they were having to go to scuffs. So there was a lot going on. So from that aspect of it, yes, it was a great race for sure. A good Bristol night race, but I don't know. I just the last 2 or 3 races, I really been focusing in on this car needs some help somewhere. And I don't care if NASCAR took a swing at it and missed. I would just love to see NASCAR taking a swing at it, like just for the fans and for the driver's sake. But yeah, the race was definitely well received and overall good, regardless of how I perceived it in that moment, for sure. BB, what do you make of all the sudden Penske driver? Penske Cindric is driving outside of their regular job. Is it a sign that Cindric won't be a Team Penske driver when he races in Australia? Like, that is a great question. Obviously, his dad got moved around in the Penske organization. Now, whether or not that affects him as a driver, I don't know. Roger Penske has always had a short leash on drivers. If he thinks you're good, he'll stick with you. If he thinks you're not good, he will get rid of you very quickly. He's a guy that doesn't like to waste a lot of time. So, and he's of all the race teams, Penske keeps things in-house probably better than any other team out there. So you sometimes hear rumors and you can sort of put some stuff together from time to time, but you never really know because Roger Penske just keeps it all in and he's not going to let you know what's happening until literally it's going to happen or has happened. So he keeps his cards tight to his vest. So that's a hard one. That is a hard one to really. Penske is always a hard one for me to really gauge as to what's real, rumor wise. So I've never really been able to get a good feel on it because at the end of the day, I feel like Roger runs the show and you just do what the boss says. Like they call him the captain for a reason, right? And he's done it. He's done it at the highest level. So you can't doubt the moves he's made. But as far as whether or not Austin Cindric will be back next year or what, I don't know. I think he's earned his seat there. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's nepotism. That's why he got his ride. I'm not. Maybe that's how he got his ride, but I think he's shown that he's a good race car driver. And me personally, I would stick with him. I like what I've seen from him. But that being said, if you want to take a gamble on somebody else, you know, maybe they want to go younger. I don't know. Austin Cindric's not an old guy by any means, so I don't know. It's hard to say. It's all unless you're Roger Penske, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say what's going to happen over there. Dream team right now for me would be Larson, Zilich, and Heim. Says T-Van. Yeah, that's not a bad squad. Not a bad squad at all. Mark Langren saying heel toe is not that big of an advantage. Time in a seat is the big deal. Agreed. And that, and people, to me, people just casually gloss over the career of SVG. He is one of the freaking best drivers in the world, period. And he's super humble, and he's not going to talk about it. But look at everything he accomplished in the amount of time he accomplished it in the Supercar Series, then came over here and raced in the Cup Series and immediately made an impact, at least on the road courses. And he's starting to put together the circle tracks as well. SVG is a very rare talent. The same thing can definitely be said about Scott McLaughlin. He's in a different discipline of motorsport, but you can definitely say the same thing about Scott McLaughlin. He went over to IndyCar and made an immediate impact. Those two guys are world class. Just period. It wouldn't matter, honestly, what you put them in. The NASCAR equivalent would be Kyle Larson. It doesn't matter what you put him in. He wrings speed out of it. I'm not even joking about this. Robbie Gordon was another guy. People don't really talk about it or think about it, but Robbie Gordon, he could sit in anything and be fast. Robbie Gordon had a bad temper. That's kind of what hurt Robbie Gordon more than anything else. But Robbie Gordon, if you sat him in a car, the talent was there. The God-given raw natural talent for Robbie Gordon, one of the best as far as that goes. The temperament sort of hurt Robbie Gordon more than anything else. How big would the check have to be if NASCAR would allow Ram to give away $500,000 just to put a driver who leads at halfway in the Coke 600? Says Sir Wood says Sir Wood Rooster. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently they're just printing money over there. So I don't know. That's a good question. McLaughlin at Daytona in a fourth car, says Mark Langren. Oh, that would be great. That would be great for sure. But definitely if I was gonna use Scotty Mack starts, some of them would definitely also have to be road courses. Imagine Scotty Mack comes in NASCAR Cup Series and they will beat up their rivalry from Supercars Easy, says Denver, for sure, man. And I would love to see it. Even if like you were saying earlier, even if we could see it in Supercars, I'd like to see it just one more time. Because just like I told you, I don't watch Supercars as much as I did back when it was on the Speed channel. But I do still catch the highlights, and man, they had some epic battles, man. It was good stuff. It was actually the reason that I was kind of keeping, those two were the reason I was keeping up with Supercars as much as I was. I need to get back into it because I'm not as well versed as I once was, for sure. But still a great series to watch, 100%. I don't agree with Burton by any means, says T-Van. Yeah, I like Burton, but he likes to put his opinions out there from time to time. But I do like that sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I don't. But he's definitely his own dude about what he thinks, for sure. I almost missed the stream, had no idea. Been a tough day at work, says Dirty Def. Yeah, trying something a little different, doing a Monday stream. We're still going to stream on Tuesday at the normal time at 8, but just trying something different here. Didn't get a ton of content out last week, and obviously just a lot going on, so I just didn't think it was appropriate to for me personally to do videos during that time. So I held back, and I just figured we'd catch up with a stream here today, and we'll do one again tomorrow. BB Ross made it. Going to be tough this next round, but he still got a chance. Yeah, Ross, one of the best drivers up there for sure. Right now, he's below the cut line. How many points is he below the cut line? Yeah, Ross is -2, so not a ton of points below the cut line. And this is where the DNFs, you just ramp up and get more important. So this is where everything has to be perfect. You can't have a DNF, but you also have to have close to a top 10 just about every race from here on out. So the pressure ramps up from here. T-Van saying, what's up to Dirty? The race was good when you consider how boring and non-eventful the last two races. So yeah, to your point, race was 100% better than the last two events. But that's like saying you know, that's like saying a Volkswagen Bug is faster than a Volkswagen Bus. They're both slow. So, you know, like if we're comparing it to the worst, some of the worst racing we've ever seen, yeah, it was better. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the Bristol race. I'm just saying NASCAR, from when I really, really just felt like I couldn't miss a race to where we're at now. Yes, this race was better than that. But if you look at at what NASCAR had before they switched to this car is still a step below, a step way below. Even the car of tomorrow, it's a step below that. So it is what it is. Eventually, NASCAR will take a swing at this. I just would love to see NASCAR take a swing at this sooner rather than later, because their approach with this car seems to have been to bury their feet in the sand, and they're not going to budge on it. But eventually they're going to have to budge on it, because just as time goes on, period, you're going to have to make modifications of this, just like they had to make modifications to the car of tomorrow. The difference is, with the car of tomorrow, they seemed way more open to changing it more quickly, aka the wing came off pretty quickly and they went with a rear spoiler. This car, they have seemed so proud and so stubborn about changing anything on it that it is just, I just don't understand their logic behind it, to be totally honest with you. But eventually they will change it, and hopefully they'll change it for the better. I would like to see the changes come a lot faster than they're coming, but it is what it is for sure. But yeah, definitely a better race than Larson dominating. But they need to be able to run hard for longer than 20 laps on tires. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it for sure. Yeah, 100% agree with that. But Goodyear did give them what they wanted. So Goodyear gave them the softest tire possible. T-Van saying, y'all hit that like button. I just remembered, yeah, would be appreciated if you hit the like button, but don't feel pressured into do it. Pull the underbody on the short track, says Mark Langren. 100%. It seems like the most obvious thing in the world to do. And everybody's like, well, the body doesn't have anything to tie to without the underbody. Yes, exactly. Just make a different underbody that the body can tie to. It's not rocket science. Just make a really cheap underbody that the body can tie to that doesn't have those rub blocks up underneath of it. So the car can get travel and go down at short tracks. Like, it's not, we're not talking about doing anything crazy here. You literally could put an X brace for the body to tie to. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable that they can't just come up with something that simple. I'm not an engineer, a brilliant engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but that seems like a very easy fix. But it is what it is. With Colton Herta going to F2, I wonder sometimes if Red Bull would try that with Zilich as a driver. A lot more money in F1, says Bruce Garvey. He would be the only one. He would probably be the only one that you could think about doing that with, because he is so young. The issue with F1 is you have to get a super license. He's got time to still get that super license. But you got to go now. Like, if you're going to do it, you got to go now. And it is a huge investment. It is a huge risk. That he can get there, because there's a lot of politics. It doesn't matter how good you are at some point in F1. There's a lot of politics to it. B, when he gets there, is Red Bull still good? Because you never know. Different teams in Formula One hit it different years. There's politics to that as well. And also, do they put him in the A car? Do they put him in the B car? Do they put him in the Red Bull clothing line car? The Alpha Red Bull car, or whatever it's called? I can't remember it off the top of my head. But is he even in the regular Red Bull car, or is he in the development driver car? There's so many layers to it. Whereas, if you and they're making money on F1. Whereas, if you just leave him in the Cup Series, you now have Red Bull branding and marketing in a whole different region, a whole different motorsport, and you build the Red Bull brand over there. I don't know that they can make the Red Bull brand any bigger in F1. So now you focus on this market over here again, which is a market that Red Bull wanted to be in. It just didn't work out for them the first time. So I think with that, looking at it that way, I don't think you're going to see him. I don't think you're going to see Red Bull take a swing at him to put him in F1. Let's see. Penske screwed his IndyCar. Penske has screwed his IndyCar drivers, says Mark Langren. Yeah, he's been very quick to fire people, for sure. And there was and I'm not an IndyCar expert by any stretch of the imagination, but there was a time where Roger Penske was getting rid of very good IndyCar drivers because he just wanted to win an Indy 500, and he didn't care if they won in my opinion, didn't care if they won a championship as long as they were good at the Indy 500. There was that era of Penske racing, and I think that's where a lot of that history or lore of Roger Penske being quick with the trigger on drivers comes from. But that's just me with my casual IndyCar knowledge. He's been more forgiving in the Cup Series, but that being said, he's also given up pretty quick on some drivers in the Cup Series. Travis Voppel, oddly enough, the rumors about Carson Voppel going to drive for Xfinity, Travis Voppel in the Cup Series was one guy I thought that he gave up on a little quick back in the day, but it is what it is. Right now, I think Cindric is safe, but he definitely can't afford to take a step back next season. Then I think he could be in trouble, says there. Yeah, Cindric needs to start just being a little more consistent. But then again, like you look at how good he ran this weekend, and just beyond his control, like couldn't control it, is the reason he finished where he finished. I can't forgive C-Bell for Bon Jovi, says MGM. So apparently his walkout music was Bon Jovi. Interesting pick for walkout music. Roger Penske had a stake in Supercars team in the past, and now he knows what Supercars is all about, says Denver Thurston. And I think he probably got rumblings very early on that NASCAR was going to go to a car that was very similar to Supercars, if not let's just call it what it is. The NASCAR Cup Series car is a Temu knockoff of a supercar. But he probably had some inside information, and that's probably why he went over there and messed with supercars for a little while, and then got out of it, and then just got all the info he could but you see they are the Ford team right now. RFK rapidly catching up, but Penske definitely the Ford team as it stands right now. Wet weather tires on all cars on the wet weather tracks, no underbodies, 1,000 horsepower, says Aaron Flynn. There you go. Just use the wet weather tire rubber, and that will help. Doggone commercials, says Mark Langren. Yeah, unfortunately, I got it on the least amount of commercials you can get, but still, apparently, they are plentiful, as we'll say. I'm just being able to see the races. I'm not paying for all these networks and channels. It's a pain in the butt, T-Van, for sure. I personally think if everything would be on one channel, NASCAR would get some of their fan base back. That's the one thing I will say about IndyCar. Their deal is so much, in my opinion, for the health of their sport, their deal is 100% better than NASCAR's. And we saw the numbers. The Xfinity Series race a couple races ago got more viewers than the Cup race did, and that's because it was on the CW. If there was, because all the races now for the Xfinity Series are on the CW, if NASCAR had taken less money for the health of the sport and just put the sport on one channel, or just put the sport on regular TV, a la what IndyCar has done, it would have been better overall for the health of the sport, and they would have gotten more money than taking the guaranteed TV money, in my opinion. I think NASCAR's TV deal is a big miss, even though I think the Amazon part of it is a big win. I think it would have been a bigger win if they put all of the races on Amazon and people only had to go one place to watch all of their races, Amazon. Even if it was like Fox and NBC still get their deal, but Amazon pays Fox and NBC for some of their rights. That way, Amazon is subsidizing some of the money that Fox and NBC has paid. So Fox and NBC can put the races wherever they want to put them. But Amazon, you could still watch them on Amazon. I think that would be probably something that we could possibly see in the future as things play out and as things move along. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, or at least make it an option. But we'll see. I think that would be the best overall move. But yeah, the best move, period, would be to put it on free TV like IndyCar has done. So IndyCar light years ahead the way they're thinking about things. No slicks, says Aaron Flynn. So he wants grooves in the tires as well as the rain tires. Which the rain tires have grooves in them. Let's see. we're talking about Zilich in the Cup car next year. You think you can look at Cindric, who is a great road racer, not too much in the Cup car. Just don't think Zilly is a lock to win next year. Yeah, and the only I agree with you. He has not looked as dominant in the Cup car as he has looked in the Xfinity Series car. The only thing I'll point to is that Coda, when he had the damaged race car, he was turning the fastest laps at Coda. So whatever he had going on at Coda, if he hadn't gotten that early wreck, that I don't think was of his doing, if I remember correctly, I think he would have been a handful there for sure. But yeah, other than that, he has looked he's struggled just as much as every other rookie that's ever transitioned, because these cars are just totally different animals than anything they've ever driven. I love Robbie Gordon. The stuff he pulled sometimes cracked me up, says T-Van. Indeed, Robbie Gordon was a character. Ain't no doubt about that. Of the remaining contenders, which NASCAR? Remember when he did the burnouts with Jeff Gordon, even though he didn't win the race, or whoever that was? That was the classic Robbie Gordon. Of the remaining contenders, which NASCAR would be the most controversial to NASCAR fans? Who right now had probably the worst season, and they would be like, "Oh, that guy doesn't deserve to win." If Austin Cindric won it, people would have an issue, and just off of performance, probably alone. And then it would just be your regular drivers that people just don't like Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace. And even though Chase Elliott's the most popular driver, he's now got almost an equal contingent of people that don't like him. Same deal with Kyle Larson. He's almost to the point of like 50-50 like hate. So some of it would be just drivers that people don't like anyway. But probably Austin Cindric would be the only one that they're like, he didn't even deserve to be in the playoffs. So even though he did, but I don't think there's anybody would really stomp their feet in the ground and be like, that guy had a terrible season, he doesn't deserve to win just yet. Why not V-Ring supercars to the US at Road America, or if real high speed long course BIR, says Mark Langren. I don't know, maybe just a cost thing overall. Like maybe that's why. That's the only thing I can think of. But when it first happened, when NASCAR showed what this car looked like, and I was like, man, that is like a supercar. And just the more I looked at it, it was like a supercar. At one point in my mind, I was like, is NASCAR going to buy supercars, and they're just going to, like, supercars is going to be Australian NASCAR, which NASCAR has tried before. Don't get me wrong, Thunderdome, or is is it going to be like some type of weird merger? And there's also thoughts in my head, is NASCAR eventually going to have a NASCAR style car in IMSA, like a NASCAR class in IMSA? There's all kinds of stuff, but there's certainly a reason that NASCAR has made this car like this. And there is certainly a reason that NASCAR doesn't want to get off of this car. But as far as I can tell, they haven't bought out, supercars. But there's some endurance style of racing that NASCAR, in my opinion, wants to do with this car. As you saw, they made basically a Le Mans version of it, the Project 56 car, whatever it was called, Garage 56 car, or whatever it was called. So definitely respect the decision, BB. Last week was tough, says Dirty Def. I appreciate you. Yeah, it was just I felt like there was bigger things, you know what I mean? So but we're back and we're rolling, and we'll get it going the rest of this week for sure. Where did I stop off at? I don't like the turtle shell underbody, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, not only is the underbody the issue, but it's also one of the most expensive pieces because it's made out of carbon fiber. So it's got two things going for it that are super bad, in my opinion. It's one of the most expensive pieces because it's made out of carbon fiber. If something happens to it, you have to replace it because you can't really patch carbon fiber effectively, in my opinion. And you can't fix single source parts right either. So And that's the reason you have the rub blocks, is so that part doesn't get damaged as much, because it is an expensive piece. So that piece right there altogether is kind of like the rear wing on the car of tomorrow. Just needs to go. They need to find a different way to do it. And Lola can find another way, or whoever develops it and builds it can find another way of getting money for building something else. What's better, Bristol dirt, asphalt, or cording tire? Bristol asphalt is definitely the best. Before they diamond the track, and with the old car. So that's the best Bristol for sure. Other than the intermediates, I think the car is a downgrade from the Gen 6. Look at Brad K Saturday night, tried to dump Bell on that last lap, and all he did was give him a boost forward. Exactly. That's what happens just about universally on circle tracks with all tight cars. And these cars are typically set up more on the tight side because of how they are. So hitting them in the rear doesn't really help them. You got to hit them from the side, which brings its own can of worms to it. Ask Austin Dillon. Cording and tire is T-Van's vote. 26 is an all-new car. Would be racing Red Bull's Zilich, says Mark Langren. So 2026 will be an all-new car for Connor Zilich Racing if he went to Red Bull. So yeah, maybe. Like, he's still young enough, but he would still have to get the supercar license, which I think he could get fast-tracked because of all the different styles of racing he's done. But he would still have to go through some preliminary stuff before he got there. I absolutely have zero desire to see one of NASCAR's youngest, most promising drivers go mess around and try a handful of F1 races or go to F1 permanently, says Jesse Daly. Yeah, it would be a hit for Red Bull for sure. Rest easy, everyone. For this week's fantasy winner has joined the stream. Say Kyle, congratulations, my man. Got that win. Boom. Life looking good for him. I got the new deal going for his work and got the race win. It's a good day. It's a good day to be Florida man. There you go. That's just for you. Go Gators. Let's see. Trans Am cars, similar, not to the TA2 cars. Says Mark Langren, wet weather tires would cause more problems than good if treaded up to the R200 tires. Yeah, I think they would shred a little too fast for sure, but something like that for sure. You're spot on about making more sense for Zilis to stay in Cup. Wouldn't make a huge difference in F1, but NASCAR could help improve visibility for the brand where they don't have a presence. Yeah, and Red Bull is all about, so Red Bull is a very unique company. If you've ever sort of looked at them and studied them from a marketing perspective, Red Bull is, I guess the best way to say this is Red Bull is an advertising company that happens to sell a product. They spend more money on advertising than any other brand. And you will see an occasional Red Bull commercial. But what is unique about Red Bull's advertising is they advertise in the background by either holding an event. The F1 deal is completely different because they analyzed F1 and they said we would make more money buying a team than we would shelling out all this money to sponsor one. So they bought the team. And in essence, when they bought the team, they started making money off of the team by selling merchandise and all of this other stuff. So it actually became a moneymaker for them. So F1 Racing Red Bull team became an actual another profitable side of the company. But you think they're an energy drink company, but it's really a marketing company. And the way they market is they market in the background. Like you'll see if you watch some of the younger streamers, there's a guy named Ludwig. When he streams, he's got Red Bull just right here. He's sponsored by Red Bull. He never says anything about, hey, you should drink Red Bull, anything like that. You just see the Red Bull. Basically, it looks like a can on his mic. You just see it right there. It's the presence, and that's how Red Bull advertises. You never see Shane Van Gisbergen say, hey, drink Red Bull. You never see Connor Zilich say, hey, drink Red Bull. In fact, the only time Connor Zilich even acknowledges the Red Bull deal is when Christian Eckes, who seems to always stand behind him, is constantly out here doing the, hey, Celsius is better. Like you see Christian Eckes do that all the time. That is really the only time that Connor Zilich ever acknowledges the Red Bull branding sponsorship deal, because Red Bull goes about their business just totally differently. They want you to see Red Bull at an event, but they want that event to be fun. So they're spending their marketing dollars on that event to be fun and have a good time. And so it's kind of like what Coca-Cola does in a way. Coca-Cola Pepsi challenge, Pepsi was proven to be the better tasting cola over and over again. But people still preferred Coke. And the reason they prefer Coke is because they've got these happy memories. They've got these happy thoughts with Coca-Cola. Red Bull, same deal. Red Bull started their first few years, they lost money because they were sending out all these representatives to college bars and stuff, and you got Red Bull for free. They were giving you this association of you were out at a bar having fun, and Red Bull was there, and Red Bull was sponsoring that event. So you made this association in your head that Red Bull is fun. Red Bull sponsored action sports. Red Bull is fun. Red Bull sponsors motorsports. Red Bull is fun. So Red Bull becomes associated in your mind as being fun and good. Because let's be honest, if you pick up an energy drink and drink it, Red Bull is not the best tasting one. But you pick up a Red Bull and buy a Red Bull because you're buying into this idea Red Bull is fun. Because Red Bull's never in your face saying, hey, drink Red Bull. Red Bull is better than this, this, and this. They just go about their business differently, and they spend more money on marketing than anybody else. And they never actually market it to you because they're doing this next level 3D chess move. It's really, and I know everybody came here to hear about the business of Red Bull, but there you go. What was I talking about? I don't know. My dad wants all the cup races on Prime, says OJ and Toothpaste. Prime definitely did the best job for sure as far as that goes. T-Van, amen, brother. Praying for Amazon only. Zilly, seat time on ovals. Look at SVG for sure. Definitely seat time is where it's at. Burnouts were with Ambrose at Montreal. That's who it was. Jeff Gordon was mad when he won the New Hampshire race in 2001 on Thanksgiving because they made up for the 2001 race that they obviously missed. Let's see. Do you think this is Toyota's year to win the championship? Yes, I think this is Toyota's best chance to win the championship for sure. That's with a caveat, awfully strong in the first round. That is with the caveat of if a Penske car doesn't make the Final Four. If a Penske car makes the Final Four, I'm still going to have to go with the Penske car just because they've got Phoenix figured out, in my opinion, better than everybody else. The blue ovals, the Penske blue ovals at Phoenix, tough to beat. Ross Chastain did it one time, though. Problem with anyone not finishing in the top 15 regularly, says Mark Langren. Yeah, for sure. They came over in the Pats. I think Laguna, says Mark Langren. How about this stat? No NASCAR in IMSA. Not yet, Mark Langren, but mark my words. You might see it one day, in my opinion. We will see. How about this stat? I heard today Logano finished 5th this week and last week at Gateway, and that's the first time he's had back-to-back top 5 since 2023. Hey, I mean, look, you can say what you want to about Joey Logano. He used to be one of the most consistent drivers of all time, but that consistency changed when they changed the championship format. So you can say Joey Logano doesn't deserve these championships. I know Denny Hamlin took a shot at him on his podcast saying, I think I'm better than him, but he's got more championships. You can say what you want to about Joey Logano. Joey Logano is racing for the championship format that he's in right now. So he races toward that. So until they change the championship format, you can't say that Joey Logano couldn't be one of the most consistent drivers. It sort of is what it is. Like, being consistent these days really does not matter. It's just not necessary. It's not something you have to do. It's win or go home type stuff. But you can't, DNFs still matter, but being consistently in the top 10 doesn't necessarily matter. Let's see. Dirty Def, no current Toyota Cup driver has ever won a championship, so this may be the year for Toyota. Yeah, and right now, like, don't sleep on Chase Briscoe. Nobody talked about him before the playoffs started, but Chase Briscoe's been on a heater first half of the first leg of the playoffs for sure. People would have a bigger problem with Logano winning again than Cindric. Facts. That's a fact, but that's just Joey. They don't like Joey Logano just because it's Joey. Facts. Jesse Daly dropping facts here today, as always. Plus, that would be his 4th championship, which would have people's heads spinning. Indeed. And it is for that reason that I want. No, I'm just playing. I'm not gonna troll like that. I want Joey Logano to win the 4th championship, but I don't feel like trolling today. I'm not gonna troll. The turtle shell is so cheap on the diecasts too. It says OJ and Toothpaste. Oh yeah. It's just a piece of plastic. It's allowed them to get away with putting even less detail and charging even more money on the diecast. Use the inverted wing only on the underbody, says Mark Langren. Yeah, maybe that would help for sure. The way the air is spit out the back on circle tracks is certainly one of the bigger issues for sure. I think visually it would be super funny to see the tough trucks of NASCAR in IMSA. Oh, that would oh man, a truck endurance series. They used to race like I think what are those things called? Ford Rangers and S10s. I think they had a racing series back in there, or maybe it was they had a mini truck racing series. I know I've sent it to Wise Guy before. I'll have to try to find it though. Zilich, never Red Bull, B team racing bulls, says Mark Langren. Yeah, he would probably be on the B team for sure. This might be the worst I've ever seen Hendrick perform with this car. Had a decent run at Gateway, but not good at Darlington and Bristol. Headed to the track at Loudon, where they've typically struggled. Yeah, it has not been a strong start to this playoffs for Hendrick. I wouldn't be worried. Like I think somebody said they were worried about Penske. I'd be more worried if I was Hendrick. I think Penske's okay. NASCAR needs to copy F1 TV. I agreed, 100%, Bruce Garvey. $85 a year and all the lower divisions, no commercials and replays of old races back to the 70s. And yes, top-notch live coverage, not remote coverage. That's what I've been talking about, Bruce Garvey. That's to me, that's the overall future for everything, for sure. Shah also saying thumbs up. What's up, Shah? Much appreciated. I haven't paid you for sponsorship. But won't turn down free promotion. That's a fact. He is not a paid sponsor. I just sponsor him because he's a good dude. So for sure. BB members, group cruise, let's do it. Yeah. So there is an idea for that. We're thinking about trying to put together a BB group cruise. So we will see if we can get that figured out at some point. I hate the Red Bull, the drink, but I love the branding, says T-Van. Case in point. I tell you what, if you don't like the Red Bull, the regular drink, they do have like they're brightly colored cans. There's a yellow one, a red one, so on and so forth. Those are really good flavor wise. I'm so accustomed. It's sort of like pickles. You become accustomed to eating them and then you really like them. I'm so accustomed to drinking Red Bull now. Did every other energy drink just seems too sweet or whatever, or upset your stomach or like Celsius. That's like Taco Bell. That's the Taco Bell of energy drinks is Celsius. Sponsor me right here, Celsius. Give me money. But yeah, Red Bull. That's just been my go-to for sure. Robbie Gordon just straight dumped Jeff Gordon at Loudon. Jeff Gordon had to lead the entire race until the end. I remember yelling at the TV. I was so upset. Says Dirty Def. Yeah, he did him dirty, and then Robbie Gordon, just in typical Robbie Gordon fashion, gave zero cares about that one for sure. NASCAR and IMSA will be the death of IMSA. They don't need that poorly run a series, says Mark Langren. Yeah, so I think it would just be sort of a co-event, like except it would be run at the same time. So like when you have the Miata Cup, which is usually an event that is a co-event with an IMSA race. They don't necessarily run at the same time. NASCAR would just be a co-event with the IMSA race, but they would just happen to be on the track at the same time, which isn't out of the question. We've seen obviously at the 24 hours of Daytona and races like that, where you've got multiple divisions on the track at the same time. So it wouldn't be IMSA in points and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I think the future is they're going to dip their toe to try like a co-event sort of situation or deal. And it's just me guessing and speculating, but I'm with you. I don't think it would be the greatest thing in the world, but I do think that they are going to eventually attempt it at some point. Made the trip to Martinsville the last two playoffs as a Blaney fan. Should I make the trip again this fall? Says Tim Brace. He's pretty good there, man. So I wouldn't bet against him. That is for certain, for sure. Logano is about when he wins than anything else, and that's the way I look at it. I don't hate the player, hate the game. Exactly. Hate the game. Don't hate the guy that has kind of figured it out. Is it me or has Chevy fallen off a cliff? Yeah, Camaro. We were talking. I don't know how soon you got here, but yeah, we were talking about that earlier for sure. Chevrolet. I don't know if it's the age of the body or if Hendrick has just missed something, but Hendrick has had a miserable start to this playoffs. I don't think a lot of people expected Austin Dillon to advance, but Austin Dillon was close to advancing before they missed the setup completely. So you can't really go off what RCR did, but